All righty. And we would like to welcome to our Zoom meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety, Thursday, May 13th, convening at 5 p.m. Before we call the meeting officially to order, Renee, please provide information you need to disseminate for the board and the public concerning today's meeting.
The public may participate remotely by dialing 1-312-626-6799 and entering the following participation code, 870-6285-6196 #. That number again is 1-312-626-6799, participation code 870-6285-6196 #. You can also provide comments by emailing rrafala@cityoflawrence.org.
Very good. Thank you. And if we have any citizens that do want to enter our meeting later, we'll certainly call upon you to bring those citizens to the meeting later on. We will now call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect we do have a quorum to do business for the City of Lawrence. And the first item that appears before the board today would be our minutes of the April 22nd meeting. Are there any corrections or deletions or comments to those minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
By Mr. Clark. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Browner. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, by roll call vote. Renee?
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
Aye.
And the motion carries 3-0. The minutes are approved. We are going to alter our agenda just a little to allow Dan to bring forth his administrative comments under unfinished business. So this would be Dan regarding the Harrison Woods right-of-way vacation initiative. If you'll speak to the board concerning that.
I will. I have one other matter, too, of interest, I believe, to this board.
Okay.
The much heralded 3G groundbreaking at Records and Pendleton Pike will be Tuesday morning, May the 18th at 8 o'clock. This board has certainly been a big part of that, getting that ready and helping us position that project over the last 4 or 5 years. If anybody would like to attend that, we would be glad to have you do so.
That's, I'm assuming 8 a.m.
8 a.m., that is correct, Mark.
Thank you.
And it shouldn't last more than a half hour or so, but I think to show the community support for the investment and the changes that's going to make to this community would really be appreciated. Regarding Harrison Woods, I wanted to appear in front of you this evening because you've always all been this, and I don't mean this glib. I like to be a man of my word, and when I make a pledge, I like to deliver. The Harrison Woods project is dead after we've spent all this money and time.
What?
And I wanted to explain to you why, and so you know what's going on. I didn't want somebody to come back 2 years from now and notice that you still own that and say, well, we passed a petition for vacation. What happened? Why hasn't it been done? Well, Caitlin and I, Caitlin more than me, inherited a project that was vetted by other legal counsel. So I'm smart enough that before I start these things, I always go to legal counsel and say, this is what I want to do. Is this appropriate? Can we get it done? And both our corporate counsel and our in-house counsel at the time not only said we can get it done, but suggested the process that we do, which was to engage an engineer, which like we did Banning, to go through the motion, get the legal descriptions, and then the process to vacate the property that you started. After we received your petition, or your vacation petition last week, got ready to submit it to the council, it was discovered by Caitlin and another council that we could not do that project without going to DMD, submitting a $4,000 application fee, then going through all the legal fees and resources necessary to try to get, in an attempt to get all those different property owners, I believe there were 14 in total, to sign off on that vacation and agree to have their taxes changed and everything happen relative to that property, of which we don't think there's any chance to get Indianapolis to go along or that to happen, even if we would pay the money and go to the expense. And even if we did, the time it would take to recoup all that expense and the very few tax dollars that we would gain, it wouldn't happen in the next lifetime. So we have agreed that it doesn't make sense to spend good money on something that's already going south and try to resurrect this thing. We're just going to kill it to protect all of our interests. And I wanted to just come clean with you because you've been so supportive, let you know what happened. I'm sorry we didn't learn that earlier, but it's through no fault of anyone on this call. It's just the situation as it is. And so, President Doug, I just thought it's important for me to share that with you.
Very good. Would the board have any questions concerning the revelation? We've just received this news that this project is dead in the water at this point.
Is there any?
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
go
please.
ahead.
No, please, Mark.
Well, I was wondering, is there any way to draft a hold harmless kind of document? Because I know some of the concern was the liability that could happen because of that. I don't know. I'm just.
Caitlin can address that, but I think the likelihood of getting everybody's attention and getting them to sign something when they won't understand it, won't feel the need to do it, is probably pretty remote. I think we're probably better off, my own opinion is, we're better off not saying anything to any of those people so they don't know the difference.
That's a good point.
That would be my thought. And there's no way we could find everyone who could potentially be in that area or kind of set it up that way. Where we could reach anyone that might ever be around there, new homeowners and people in the area, et cetera. So
and I don't
know if it would be worthwhile.
I don't think we want to give anybody there the idea that they have reason to sue the city either.
That's a good point. And, you know, as the board, thank you for all your hard work. And it was a great idea that unfortunately got in the way of other things. But thank you for identifying that and working on it so hard.
Well, thank you for your understanding. I think there's even one small invoice left to be paid on that, but we're about there. And I'm sorry that it just didn't work out, and I wanted to just have that discussion with you personally.
Very good. Any other questions for Dan?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
We will now move on to our new business at hand on the agenda. And item A is the approval of agreement for a document of services with Van Alstyle. I think you have this before you. Are there any questions on this agreement? Or are there any comments? I also ask that. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agreement?
Motion to approve.
By Mr. Clark, is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Brown. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, by roll call vote, please.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
I approve.
And the motion carries 3-0, so that document services agreement is approved. Item B, we go right to item B, approval of Resolution 6, 2021, Lawrence Fire Department surplus property disposal. You may have received that information. Are there any questions? Any comments by the chief or?
Yeah, Mr. President, it's the fire department was asked to do it. We're all moving into the old controller's office, and I've talked with our controller, and he asked me to pass on to legal to get a resolution. Most of that furniture up there cannot be used, and it's like in excess of 20, 25 years old. So that's why that resolution is before you. It's the furniture in the old controller's office.
Very good. Any other questions for Chief? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve resolution number 6?
Motion to approve.
By Mr. Clark. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Browner. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor by roll call, please.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
Aye.
And the motion carries 3-0. Resolution number 6 approved. Item C, approval of indemnity and hold harmless agreement, Clarion Events, Inc. And we have that information before you as well. Are there questions concerning the agreement?
Okay, Mr. President, that's a contract that's been before you guys for the last several years. The only thing that's changed is the name. It's the FDIC conference that uses our tower in exchange for approximately $10,000 worth of free training for our firefighters. It used to be called Penwell, and like I said, it's the same contract, just it's a different name that they're using now for FDIC. They come out every year and, like I said, use our tower, and that also has been before our legal. There was a paragraph that was added. Caitlin had asked us to get that added, which that vendor agreed, and that's the last paragraph in there, and legal was good with it.
Thank you for that explanation. Are there questions for the chief or city legal?
No, that's the tower at 9th and Lee, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, very good. We'll entertain a motion to approve the Clarion Events agreement by Mr. Clark. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Browner. And are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, by roll call vote.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
Aye.
And the motion carries 3-0. So that is approved. We'll move quickly to item D, approval of local roads and bridges matching grant agreement, NDOT, Oak Landon Road, from 445 feet north of Pendleton Pike to 290 feet north of Broadway. Are there questions?
Hi, this is Shri. I can just give you a little background.
Okay, Shri. Sure.
So this is part of, the INDOT just awarded the community crossing grants for 2021. We applied for we had three applications in, and we only got one approved. I think INDOT's total match amount this year was significantly lesser than last year, and they only, based on my observation, they mostly selected the thoroughfares and arterials, like the big roads, instead of the smaller streets. So like I said, we applied for three segments, and we got this one segment approved for the 50-50 grant. So INDOT will be putting in $85,449, and our match will be the exact same amount. So this is an agreement with INDOT to proceed to execute the contract and get us that match.
Thank you for those explanations and the costs. Are there questions from the board? Hearing none.
Yeah.
There's a motion. I would entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
By Mr. Clark. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Brown. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, by roll call vote again.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
Aye, approve.
And the motion carries 3-0. I guess I had one question. When do we think we will start this resurfacing project?
So we have to bid this out before August. We have to have a contractor on board by August. So the plan is to bid this out by end of June, have a contractor on board, by mid-July, and have it ready to start resurfacing early August.
Very good. Sounds good. That's an area that has a lot of traffic, so I know it'll be welcomed. Thank you very much. We'll move to item E, approval of task order number 9, Shrewsbury, for the preparation of bid documents, procedure, administration, and inspection of the 2021 resurfacing program.
So just a little background on this. So this is for the design and inspection of the Auckland Road resurfacing that the INDOT agreement was just approved for. So
Right.
Shrewsbury is, just like every year, Shrewsbury is going to come up with the bid documents to bid this project out by June, and also help with the construction inspection when it goes to construction.
Okay. This
And I think the total dollar amount is $16,000 for both design and inspection.
Okay. Questions for our engineer? Hearing
And
none.
this is just, yeah,
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure, this is just for that project we just approved, you said?
Correct.
It
Auckland
works in
Road.
tank, okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve task order number 9?
Motion to approve.
By Mr. Clark. Is there a second?
Second?
By Mrs. Browner. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, by roll call vote, please.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
and Mark Clark.
Aye.
And the approval of task order number 9 is approved 3-0. Thank you very much. We're going into some approval of appointments of reserve officers, and I did speak with Caitlin today about that, and she thought possibly it might be, even though we could do this as a joint group, we'll just, for the record, enter each officer's name. So we'll take each one of these separately as they are on the agenda. So item F is approval appointment reserve officer Jacob Hobson. And if there are any questions or if Chief has any comments, the floor is yours.
I think the way we're going to handle this is Chief Bigsby is on the line here as well, and
Okay.
I'm going to turn it over to him and allow him to, or ask him to read brief biographies of the candidates before you.
Okay.
Hey, how's everyone doing this afternoon?
Hello.
Good. Good to hear from you.
That's good. The first one that we have here is the reserve appointment for Jacob Hobson. Hobson comes to us from Noblesville, Indiana. He holds an associate's degree in criminal justice. What makes Jacob so unique to our department, he was actually a Fisher's Police Explorer, which is like our cadet program for youth from the ages of 14 to 21 years of age. He was there at Fisher's, and then he transferred over here in 2016, in which he currently still serves as a Explorer advisor. He currently is, he's active very in his church. He still participates in events for Ivy Tech and always wanting to help people and serve all communities. And he currently works for Kroger's. So I think this appointment here in particular is a good one, as the rest of them are. But Jacob stands out for being one of our own explorers that have went through the whole program, and now he is moving on to try to be a reserve officer for our department.
Very good. Any other questions concerning the reserve officer Jacob Hobson from the board? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
It is my honor to motion in approval.
Very good. Is there a second?
You're muted, Sean.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second?
Thank you. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, by roll call vote, please.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
Aye.
And Jacob Hobson, reserve officers, approved 3-0. We'll now go to item G, approval appointment of reserve officer Joseph Maytek, if I said that correctly. Yes. If not, correct.
Yes, sir. Maytek.
Okay.
So Joseph comes to us from Peoria, Illinois, and he currently works for AT&T since 1997. He's been a deputy with Shelby County Sheriff's Department from 1989 to 1990, and is now the reserve deputy for Henry County Sheriff's Office starting back in 2016 to current. Joseph's pure state is that he's very professional with coworkers and the public, and has a great attitude and will make a great addition to our reserve division of our police department.
Thank you for those comments. Are there questions from the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
And again, it's my honor to place a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Browner. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, by roll call vote, please.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
Aye.
And Reserve Officer Joseph Myatek is approved 3-0. Thank you. Going to item H, approval of appointment of Reserve Officer Evan Strater.
Yes, sir. Yes, Evan Strater, he comes to us. Actually, he's another unique candidate as well. He was one of our former Lawrence Explorers back in 2006 to 2008. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice as well as his Juris Doctorate in law, currently an attorney for the civilian unit of Indiana State Police. He's currently reserved with the Putnam County Sheriff's Office as a road officer, even very active in his church and always willing to help his community with needs, and would make a great addition to the department as well.
You've heard those comments. Other questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve Reserve Officer Evan Strater?
It is my honor to place a motion to approve.
By Mr. Clark. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Browner. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, again by roll call.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
Aye.
And the motion carries 3-0. Reserve Officer Evan Strater is approved 3-0. We'll move to item J, I'm sorry.
Got one more.
Got my a little bit down further than I needed to. Approval appointment Reserve Officer Michaela Sherrill.
Yes, sir. Michaela Sherrill. Michaela. Oh, no problem. Michaela, she also comes to us here from Indiana, Fairland, Indiana. She holds her bachelor's degree as well in criminal justice. A lot of her professors gave very good feedback from her. She's probably one of our younger candidates, as well as Mr. Hobson. She's a hard worker, very driven. We believe that should be a great addition to our police department. We know that each and every one of these candidates have a long road ahead of them with going to road school and making sure that they make it through FTO. But Michaela, we believe that she's a very hard worker, and she accomplished her goals to become a police officer in the future.
Very good. Thank you for those comments. Are there any questions concerning Michaela's? Hearing none, we will entertain a motion for approval.
And again, my honor to motion for approval.
By Mr. Clark. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Browner. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor by roll call, please.
Doug Reeser,
Aye.
Sean Wright Browner,
Aye.
Mark Clark.
Aye.
And the motion is 3-0 for approval of Michaela Sherrill, a reserve officer. We thank you, Chief, for all those reserve officers, and we look forward to their work within the city and carrying the high standards that you do in our police force for the city of Lawrence. So thank you very much. You're welcome.
And it's great.
Thank you.
To see explorers graduating to the next level. So that's very impressive. So thank you.
Good job. Absolutely. We will now move on as a board to the acceptance of proposal for Lawrence Police Department impound agreement, Zori's towing and recovery services. And we're going to discuss this a little bit at this time. We'll let the chief and city legal and possibly Jason Fenwick, if he's on board here, to answer any questions and to bring us up to speed on the proposal. So the floor is open.
So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Caitlin. I'm sorry.
okay, I'll be brief. My recommendation here would be for you all to, now that you've received the various proposals, I would recommend that you review them, look at the requirements in the RFPs, see if they've met those requirements, look at pricing, and then set another meeting, because I know one of our older contracts is coming up soon. So I would give you guys some time and maybe next week set a meeting to select someone. You're more than welcome to listen to recommendations from the chief or Jason, and just take your time and look over the proposals. And if you have any legal questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
So what are we, is it the most qualified? And I mean, what are our criteria that we're looking at? I mean, I know cheapest is not always the best. So are we looking for a recommendation from a group that is in charge of deciding this, or can you clarify what we need to do a little bit?
Sure. Chief Bigsby, do you want to kind of discuss the process and how we got to this point and what we expect?
So just recently, well, back in 2019, our agreement, we currently had an agreement with Lawrence Towing, in which the agreement ended back in 2019. And, with the pandemic and everything being slowed down all of last year, we had to make notice to them to let them know that, hey, we were sending out an RFP, you know what I mean? And they also submitted their RFP back into the process, as well as Interstate Towing and Zoers Towing. So we just give in the RFP, it explains everything that we're looking for. One of the main things that we hit on is that they can respond to a scene, regardless of what that is, like an accident, a fatality, or what have you, or a regular traffic arrest where an impound is needed. They have to respond anywhere within the city of Lawrence within 20 minutes. We look at their facility to make sure that they have all the equipment that's required, and also making sure that their insurance is up to par as well. So we got 3 RFPs back. We wanted to make sure that you guys got those so that you can look over those. We do pay strong emphasis on the return on administrative fees in which we collect, as well as make sure they can meet those times, make sure they have the equipment to respond to our runs as well. So in the RFP itself, it pretty much lays everything out of what the department is asking for. It even goes all the way down to when they impound a vehicle, what information has to be given back to the police department. As far as like the vehicle years, just paperwork, clerical information to make sure that they're able to keep track of that, just in case we have, a complaint or whatever. So it's just an agreement that we send out in this RFP here. And we wanted to make sure that you guys had all the copies so that you guys can review those. And if we need to make a recommendation, we would do so as well. Upon, we reviewed it in its entirety.
Yeah. Thank you. And you guys would know better of the performance of the towing companies. So I think your recommendation would be important to the board in making that decision, because, the clerical stuff and, the fee collection is important. So, and I don't have any firsthand knowledge of any of these companies as far as performance goes. So, yeah, I think recommendation.
I'm sorry to chime in over. And also, there are some safeguards within the RFP as well. So, like, for instance, if they don't respond in a timely manner within that 20-minute time frame, in consecutive times, then we can also, that would be a breach of their agreement with the city, in which, we can, go to another vendor if that's the case. So there are some safeguards for the city in there as well that you can take a look at. so that we do protect not only the city, but as well as the citizens of the city of Lawrence or the people we come in contact with throughout our community.
Okay. Is there, should we, I don't know how we, what is our next step, I guess is what I need some clarification on. Do we have our own meeting to discuss this, or how do we?
To my understanding, that you have the proposals, and then I believe you're going to come back at a later meeting to make a determination of who would be the best suited for the city to handle its towing contract.
Okay.
You know, on the agenda, it says Zor's Towing and Recovery Service, so do we need to change the agenda?
Right. So the agenda should be a general characterization, not that one has been chosen or anything at this point, but for you guys to look at the proposals, and then at your next meeting, we can discuss those and we can go from there to have an agreement. It's just that time is kind of at the end to a certain degree, because we have already given notification to our current vendor. Not saying that we wouldn't use them. I mean, they're all still in the running as far as I'm concerned. But it was a June 1st, date that was put on notification back to our current vendor, so that we can get back on track with our agreement and our dates to find the groups that we have.
So we're not voting the recommendation for Zotorin yet?
I wouldn't advise that.
That's fine. I was just looking at the agenda.
Yeah.
I think we're going to hold a maybe special meeting next week on Tuesday or Thursday, looking at your calendars at, again, just our normal 5 o'clock time to.
I'll have to check and see what other boards are meeting, and I will definitely let everybody know tomorrow. Okay. And make sure that it's posted on the website and all of that, so that people know that we're doing that. We do have a resident on the line that had a bunch of questions. I think his name is Dan.
Before we get to that, is this, before we get to citizens' comments, let's stay with item J here, and the board. If you are in concurrence with myself and my other two board members that we will have a special meeting next week, when we determine that time, we'll get that information to you. Does that sound efficient for you to review all the ones that are actually trying to get the impound service agreement? Will that work?
Does it have to be public?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, correct. So I don't know if I need to make a motion for that, or we'll just see if we can set that meeting. And again, hopefully all three of us will be able to interact with the police department leadership. Mm-hmm. And of course, the citizenry of Lawrence and any other folks that want to interact on that meeting. That'll be open door meeting. Yes.
Could you just move it to unfinished business?
That's what I was just going to say. If you guys could motion, please, to continue this to the next meeting that will be scheduled for a later date.
When would our next meeting is?
It'll be, well, our actual next meeting for this month isn't until the 27th. Mm-hmm. And I think that might be pushing it for the June 1st deadline.
June 1.
I will look at the calendar and see what days we can have a meeting that other boards aren't meeting.
Okay.
And let you guys know what date and time that'll be tomorrow. And like I said, I'll make sure it's posted on the city's website. And we'll also have it on the bulletin board. So, or anybody who needs information on it can also email me.
Okay.
Okay.
So Caitlin, would that, I'll ask Caitlin one more time, that the board would have a special meeting just to entertain this item, or do you think we should wait and put it on unfinished business on the 27th of May? Which do you think would be more appropriate?
A special meeting is good because then we have some time between selecting someone and kind of our drop dead date that we have services. And it also gives all the board members time to review everything and think if they have any questions for the chief or Jason or anyone like that. So I think it's a good balance there with holding something next week.
Okay, let's plan on a special meeting then, Renee, and we'll let you look at things and you'll get back with us. Okay?
Yep. I'll do that first thing in the morning.
Very good. Okay. Now we'll entertain those citizens' comments that or questions that citizenry had. If you want to bring that forward, or someone's online, whatever.
Yeah, we have a Dan Babalia on the line who had some questions for you guys.
Yes, hello. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask some questions. My name is Dan Bobilia. I'll just direct these to the board in general and go from there.
Dan, could you spell your last name for us, please? And please give us your address.
Sure. B-O-B-I-L-Y-A.
Okay.
And my work address is 927 South Harrison Street, Suite 200, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46802. And I represent multiple citizens of Lawrence.
Okay. All right. Fort Wayne, this is your mailing address, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Correct.
Then. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Dan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Because I'm not privy to the information that you're privy to, that's why I have some of these questions. Can you tell us how many proposals you've received?
3.
Are we talking about the, you're on the police department impound agreement? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, item J.
Item J? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to let the chief entertain maybe the name. There's 3 that I'm aware of, but you could give the names. I don't have those right in front of me right now.
One is Interstate Towing, the other one is Lawrence Towing, and the other one is Zoers Towing.
Okay, Dan, those 3. Go ahead.
My understanding is that there was a 4th that I didn't hear. The name is Garner's Towing.
No, we did not receive one from Garner's.
Okay, that's one question I had. Of the proposals you've received, have you determined whether or not the facility from which they'll be rendering these services is located within the city of Lawrence?
We've looked at all of the addresses that were submitted in the RFP, and 2 of the 3 are located in the city of Lawrence.
Okay, you noted Zoers in item J. Is their facility that they'll be rendering these specific services from located in Lawrence?
Yes.
Can you tell me that address, please?
The address is 8023 East 47th Street.
Okay. Do you know off the top of your head whether that location is zoned for use as a salvage yard or towing facility?
I can give that back to the city engineer, but I believe it is. What I've been told, yes.
Okay. You believe it is?
Yes.
Okay. Is that something that can be verified before the special meeting?
Yeah, that information will be given to the board, yes.
Okay. And has there been an examination of the location to make sure that it meets the requirements in terms of capacity of vehicles? For example, number of... Go ahead.
You mean as far as our P is for... I guess I'm trying to figure out what kind of question you have. Or you mean, is it going to be able to hold the 50 vehicles that are required within the RFP?
5 indoor vehicles and 50 exterior vehicles in a secured area?
Yes.
That assessment has been done on that particular property?
On part of the property, and that's why we're going through the whole RFP process to make our recommendation back to the board.
So, okay, just to be clear though, has that assessment already been performed?
Yes.
And you've determined that it meets that capacity?
Yes.
How many vehicles, if you know, can it store indoors?
I don't have the knowledge of how many it can, but I'm sure they have multiple different locations on the property that at least 5 can meet the criteria of the RFP.
Okay, so they're going to provide services from multiple locations?
I have no clue. No, I don't understand what you're asking.
You said they have the...
I guess I'll put it in short. I'll put it in short. They do meet the requirements of the RFP on vehicle storage.
Okay. What are the rates in their proposal?
I don't have that information in front of me.
Well, the contract was up for approval on the agenda. I guess I just assumed that people had been provided with the terms of the contract.
It was
Like the price?
based off of a recommendation that was submitted to the board for their review. So there hasn't been any furnished.
I'll speak to that, Dan. The responses are pretty voluminous, and I just felt it was proper for the board to have more time to review everything. I just thought if they had more time, like a week or so, kind of go through the responses and see what was requested. And the proposals, that would be much better than kind of having a day to look over it. So that wasn't my recommendation.
Okay, so has the board been presented with the pricing that the different providers have proposed?
Yes.
Okay, and is the board aware of what the Zor's pricing is?
If they've looked at the information they've been presented, they have access to it. So yes.
Okay, that's why I was asking what it is, because the public doesn't have access to it.
Dan, as I told you in the email earlier today, if you want copies of the contracts and the proposals, all you have to do is fill out that public records request form. Caitlin will get it, and the documents that we're able to provide will be provided to you.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just
and they're not
figured that we're all
tonight. So it is going to be continued to a special meeting. They're going to review all the contracts. The Zor's may not be the one that's recommended. They are going to go back and look at the contracts and look in more depth, and they will be able to have answers to those specific questions if you still have them after looking over the proposals yourself. And any other resident or person out there who wants them, that form is available on our city website, cityoflawrence.org. It's under the legal department. Fill it out, send it in. Caitlin will get it, and we'll provide all the documentation that you need.
Thank you.
That can be done.
That's right.
Are you advocating for a certain RFP respondent? Is that what these questions are concerning?
Partially, yes.
Well, that doesn't answer the question.
Yes, that is part of the reason for the questions. And the other reason is my understanding is that there are certain legal requirements that have to be met in order for someone to perform the services, anyone to perform them. And we have tried to determine whether all of the applicants meet those requirements, but we've been unable to do that because we've not had the opportunity to ask these sorts of questions. So more than anything, it was information gathering to make sure the requirements are met. And then, yes, I am advocating in favor of one of the applicants. So that's why the answer is really both.
Well, we look forward to your presence at our next meeting when we discuss this in further detail.
Okay, and I was trying to listen, although it was a little unclear about the timing of the next meeting.
It'll be posted when it's determined. It'll be posted on the site.
Okay, is there usually some
next week? next week sometime. So we'll let Renee look into the dates that are available for her as well as us. And it will have to be posted at least, I think, in 48 hours. There is a legal requirement. Maybe Caitlin can.
Right.
That's right.
Am I correct? 48?
You're correct.
Thank you. So
Okay.
I would just say, be aware that this meeting will be posted on the website. So you're more than welcome to, again, enter into comments after you look over your materials, and the board will look over the materials that we have a little more in depth than just, that's why we're doing it. We need a little more time than 24 hours to make any determination. So we'll let you get your information. The board will work through their information. And when we have our special meeting, we will make a conclusive determination on which company the city of Lawrence will use. Any other questions or comments, Dan, or board members?
No, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you for your comments. And with that, I'm going to entertain unless we have other citizen comments that I'm not aware of, I better back up a minute. Renee, do we have anyone else?
No, sir, I'm not seeing any.
Okie doke. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
I motion to adjourn.
By Mr. Clark, is there a second?
Second?
And by verbal, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you, board.
Aye.
Take care.